the first humans to reach the deepest point on Earth. A dark depths documentary. At nearly 7 miles beneath the ocean's surface, 2 humans sat in total darkness, listening to their vessel crack. In 1960, at the height of the Cold War, humanity attempted something no species had ever done before: descend to the deepest point on Earth. Deeper than Mount Everest is tall, deeper than any submarine had ever survived. In this Dark Depths documentary, we tell the true story of the first humans to reach the bottom of the ocean, how they got there, what nearly went wrong, and what they saw in a place where survival should be impossible. And around 70% into this story, we'll reach the moment that made the crew believe the mission had failed, when a single sound suggested the ocean itself was about to crush them. If real deep ocean history and unsettling true stories pull you in, subscribe to Dark Depths. This descent is real. Why the deepest point on Earth was untouchable. For most of human history, the deep ocean was pure speculation. Sailors knew it was deep. Scientists knew it was dangerous. But no one truly understood how hostile it was. Water pressure increases by 1 atmosphere every 10 meters. At the surface, your body handles 1 atmosphere easily. At 1,000 meters, pressure is already lethal. At 5,000 meters, steel begins to fail. The deepest known point on Earth, Challenger Deep, reaches nearly 11,000 meters. At that depth, pressure exceeds 1,000 times surface pressure. Temperatures hover just above freezing. Sunlight has never existed. For decades, scientists believed nothing could survive there, and certainly not humans. Most people miss this. The deepest point on Earth wasn't unreachable because it was far away. It was unreachable because physics itself seemed to forbid it. And yet, in the 1,950 seconds, someone decided to try anyway. The machine built to defy the ocean. The vessel that would attempt this descent was unlike any submarine before it. It was called Trieste. Instead of sleek design, it relied on brute physics. A massive steel pressure sphere, walls over 12 centimeters thick, filled with gasoline for buoyancy, because gasoline compresses less than water. Inside the sphere, there was barely enough room for 2 men to sit. No standing, no stretching, no escape. The occupants were Don Walsh, a U.S. Navy lieutenant, Jacques Piccard, son of the vessel's designer. This wasn't exploration for comfort. It was exploration for survival. Most people miss this. If the sphere failed, there would be no warning. Death would be instant. And on the 23rd of January 1960, they sealed the hatch. The long descent into nothing. The descent began slowly. As Trieste sank, daylight faded within minutes. At 1,000 meters, the ocean was completely black. At 3,000 meters, pressure creaked against the hull. At 6,000 meters, every sound became suspicious. The only connection to the surface was a thin communication line. Inside the sphere, condensation formed on the walls. Temperature dropped steadily. Silence was broken only by mechanical noises. Then at around 9,000 meters they heard it. A loud crack. Not a small noise. Not a vibration. A sharp, unmistakable fracture sound. For a moment, neither man spoke. They believed one of the exterior acrylic viewports had failed. If true, the pressure would collapse the sphere instantly. But nothing happened. The descent continued. Most people miss this. At that moment, they had no way to turn back quickly. The ocean had already claimed them, and the worst part was still ahead, reaching the bottom of the Earth. After nearly 5 hours, the descent stopped. The ocean floor was beneath them. They had reached the deepest point on Earth. At first, they saw nothing, just disturbed sediment drifting through the lights. Then, something moved. Walsh and Piccard reported seeing what appeared to be a flatfish-like creature. Life. At nearly 11,000 meters. This single observation shattered decades of assumptions. Life was not limited by sunlight, not limited by pressure, not limited by depth. The deepest place on Earth was not lifeless. It was simply hidden. Most people miss this. The most important discovery wasn't the depth. It was the proof that life finds a way where humans never could. If you were sitting in that sphere, would seeing life comfort you or make it more unsettling? Why the mission nearly ended in silence? Because of the crack earlier, the crew limited their time on the seafloor. They stayed for about 20 minutes. No extended exploration, no movement, just observation. When they began ascent, the vessel rose slowly, too slowly. If ballast release failed, they would remain trapped forever. No rescue mission could reach them. Eventually, the ballast released correctly. Trieste began its climb back to the surface. They emerged alive. Most people miss this. This mission succeeded not because it was safe, but because it didn't fail at the wrong moment. And for decades, no one would ever repeat it. Why no one returned for over 50 years? After 1960, the mission was considered too risky. Technology shifted toward space. Funding disappeared. The deep ocean was abandoned again. For more than half a century, no humans returned to the deepest point on Earth. The ocean reclaimed its silence. It wasn't until the 21st century that technology caught up again. If you want more true deep ocean history and real descent stories, subscribe to Dark Depths. These events actually happened. Why this story still feels unsettling. This mission unsettles us because it reveals something uncomfortable. The deepest place on Earth is closer than space, yet far more hostile. Humans visited it once and immediately retreated. Most people miss this. We didn't conquer the deep ocean. We survived a brief visit. In 1960, 2 humans reached the deepest point on Earth. They didn't find monsters. They didn't find emptiness. They found life, and proof that the ocean still holds boundaries we barely understand. In the next video, we'll explore what scientists later discovered living in the deepest ocean. Watch that next. Because the deepest part of Earth was never empty, it was just waiting.